I went to bed and the next morning I woke up and I heard these birds chirping at my window and I went, oh wow, it must be morning, time to get up, Ben. So I've opened up the curtains, looked outside and went, oh wow, it's still dark. Oh well, I closed the curtains and I lay back in bed again. Then I heard the birds chirping and I thought, hang on a minute. And then I opened the curtain, I stood there at the window looking outside and I could start to feel the warmth of the sun on my face, but it was just completely black. I first sat on a motorbike when I was 7 years old, a friend's little mini bike, and at a birthday party, and I absolutely loved it. It was real natural and clearly had a passion for motorcycles. I was halfway through Year 10 at high school and I passed the entrance exam to join the Australian Navy to do marine engineering. I had a motorcycle accident when I was 15, hit a tree, I had concussion, and after going to the GP, noticed, looking into my eyes, noticed some pigment in the back of the eyes and the retinas, and yeah, after a series of tests I was diagnosed with the eye condition of retinitis pigmentosa. It's a degenerative eye condition. When my eyesight did start to deteriorate from the outside in, because it shrinks gradually, tunnel vision, and eventually it goes. One day I just decided to tear up my rider's licence and driver's licence, and that had a huge impact on my life because I lost my job after that. I lost my relationship, and yeah, I became a pretty frustrated and an angry guy, and one night I was working on the computer, writing up a newsletter, and my left eye was a bit watery, and thought, oh, it's time to go to bed, and I woke up the next morning and totally black in my left eye at 32, and I still had vision in my right eye, but 2 or 3 degrees. And as it deteriorated, I can remember a similar thing. I went to bed and the next morning I woke up and I heard these birds chirping at my window and I went, oh wow, it must be morning, time to get up, Ben. So I've opened up the curtains, looked outside and went, oh wow, it's still dark. Oh well, I closed the curtains and I lay back in bed again. Then I heard the birds chirping and I thought, hang on a minute. And then I opened the curtain, I stood there at the window looking outside and I could start to feel the warmth of the sun on my face, but it was just completely black. I just had a moment there of tremendous sadness, and it just hit me like a train, that, oh, it's finally happened. And then a couple of minutes later, and this is really weird, but it was just like a sense of relief. Yep, it's finally happened. That was the first time since I was 15 that I knew that I had some stability in my life. When your life circumstances change, again, it's about your attitude. And I decided then that I wasn't going to let this bring me down. I decided that I was going to open up a new door in my life and walk through it. I always played sport. I was a pretty good sportsman, and I've been very lucky to represent Australia in 2 disciplines of sport. I've rowed for Australia and won a number of world rowing championships. And I also, after I retired from rowing, I played blind cricket. And I've toured the world, met a lot of great people along the way, and we're on the island of Barbados on the last couple of nights before we're heading back to Australia, and I decided to go for a walk down the beach and sat under a coconut palm, listening to the water, lapping onto the beach, and I decided it was time for me to make some decisions. And the first thing was that I was going to retire from cricket, but the next thing was, well, what am I going to do now? I'm going to have a sporting goal or achievement in my life. I thought, what was my dream as a kid? The other dream was to race motorcycles, and I thought, Ben, you can't race motorbikes, you're blind. How are you going to do that? So the first thing I did when I got back home from the West Indies is I Googled blind land speed record and went, bingo. Riding the bike's easy, the balance, the coordination, but the big problem for me was how am I going to navigate? How am I going to stay in a straight line? Through motorcycling New South Wales, I was introduced to Kevin McGee, a former MotoGP racer. Got in contact with a guy called Paul Simpson, who's a radio engineer. And so with Kevin and Paul, we devised a radio system in our helmets. So then it was down to just hard work and practice. The first day I rode a motorcycle again, it was at Eastern Creek Raceway, and I just bought a new bike and we had it out on the track, and Magoo did a couple of laps on it and came back, and he walked over to the pit area where I was waiting and he said, "Okay, Ben, what do you want me to teach you about the bike? You know, do you want me to go through the controls?" I said, No. I said, "I'm just going to jump on and ride it. I don't want to think about it, I just want to do it." And I did. I walked over, he showed me where the bike was, I hopped on it, started her up, put it in gear, and off I went. And I said to my brother, "Hey, watch this, mate." So first gear took off, second gear, and I just pulled the wheel stand down the main straight of Eastern Creek. I'm not scared at all. I know what my skills are. I certainly understand the risks that are involved. You know, the sense of being in control, the wind in the face, the speed, the sense of speed. It's a real skill thing. It's challenging as a rider to ride well. You know, there's the anxiety beforehand. As I said, it's scary. So I go through all that nervous tension and all the rest of it. But when I get on the motorcycle, it's like my office, you know, I'm used to it. We've recently achieved a Guinness World Record and an FIM motorcycle land speed record. We want to challenge that at Speed Week 2019. So we want to go faster. I want to break more records. I want to challenge, I guess, my Australian record and the Guinness World Record, FIM record. You know, I'm achieving a lifetime dream, getting out there racing motorcycles, and that's great. But what's really important to me is also creating a legacy. I have an important responsibility, I guess, and that's to be a role model, and that is to just get out there and live life and be an example of what a blind person can do when they set their mind to something. I reckon my neighbours think, "Mate, that guy's not really blind," you know, because I walk out there and put the rubbish bins out the front, or mow the front lawn, or climb up on the ladder and clean the gladders out, you know, and I'm sure they're watching going, "Is this guy told us he's totally blind? Look what he's doing." The young fella next door, he's 6. And when we got home from Speed Week, there was an article in the newspaper, and he cut the paper out and he went to storytelling time at his primary school. And he said to the kids at primary school, showed them the article, and he said, "Oh, I live next door to the world's fastest bloke on a motorcycle. They don't see me as a blind guy bumping around the place. They just see me as any other guy out there just doing their thing."